All right, everybody, welcome back to Thinking Outside the Bank, where we not only talk about creative finance, creative real estate, but also when life throws us curveballs and people had to think creatively of how to get out of them and kind of pivot. So I want to welcome my guest today, a good friend and colleague of mine, Javier Paredes. Javier, welcome to Thinking Outside the Bank, man.
Dude, man, thank you so much for, bringing me here, man. I'm excited to drop some heat to your audience.
That I know you will do. I consider you, like I said, friend, colleague, and I would even throw mentor in there as well, man. And we've talked about this before. If you haven't seen the podcast episode I did on Javier's podcast here about a month ago, definitely we'll drop some links of how you can go check that out. But I actually met Javier at a real estate meetup. That's how we first met, and that was my first kind of stepping outside of the box and outside of my comfort zone. Um, of into your real estate world and
Hmm.
meetup and my life kind of changed from there. I know I told you that last time,
I love it.
but yeah, man. So take a minute, kind of introduce yourself to some of the guests that don't know you and kind of some of the things that you're into real estate as well as outside of real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing I want to tell you guys is you just make sure you stay to the very end and just listen up, man. I want you guys to really see where I'm coming from. So, born and raised in Miami, lived in Miami till I was about 12 years old. And as a little kid, I like to call myself abnormal because I wasn't a kid that wanted to play video games. I didn't want to watch TV. I wanted to be outside and making money. And to give more context on that is I'll never forget when I lived in Miami, Florida. I lived behind a golf ball course. And in my back porch, I remember I used to see people hit golf balls into the lake all the time. And so I remember I looked up to see how these guys were taking their golf balls out of the lake, right? Obviously the ones that were in the shallow area, not in the real deep area.
Mhm.
And I looked up how much it would cost me to buy a golf ball retriever. This is the mentality that I had, right? And I invested, I think, $40 into a golf ball retriever. And I would take out golf balls out of these lakes, these little ponds that these guys would hit it in. And I would fill up 5 gallons of buckets. Then I would find a store that would buy my golf balls, resell. Because when a golf ball's hitting the water, you can actually still resell it. Nothing wrong with it. And as long as it wasn't a Ranger ball, right? I don't know if you golf,
Yeah.
but as
Oh, yeah.
long as it's not a Ranger ball, it's actually worth value. So you have like the Wilson balls, the Nike balls, all these different good balls are hit into the thing.
Yeah.
So I would fill that up. And that was the kid that I was. And I did that for years. I was getting 10, 15, upwards of 25 cents a golf ball. And again, I wasn't the kid that wanted to be behind a video game, an iPad, a cell phone. I was the kid that always wanted to make money. And it wasn't like I watched a movie or I had a role model. I just had it in me
Yeah.
as a kid. And that same business mentality correlated to all these other little small businesses I had as a kid. I had a small little car detailing business. I bought car detailing equipment at Walmart, and I would go up to people and strangers that lived in my apartment complexes. Hey, can I wash your car? $10, $15, $20, undercutting the guys who were washing their cars. And then I did that with cars for a while. And then I did that same thing with, I was a kid that bought a Murray lawnmower for $120 at Walmart. And I would
The yard.
go
Yeah.
cut people's yards. And so I did this over and over as a kid. And you're talking, I'm 12, 13, 14 years old. Most kids want to be behind
Yeah.
some type of device,
Yep.
playing and watching video games. I didn't care about any of that stuff. I wanted to be active outside or making money. And the funny thing is when I would make money, most kids would want to take their money and go spend it. Hey, Mom, can you take me to the store? Can I get some candy? Hey, Mom, can you take me to go buy some toys? Here's the abnormal kid I was. I didn't want to do any of that. I wanted to save my money. And I had a piggy bank. And I would save every damn dollar that I would make. I'm not kidding you. I didn't want to spend it. I wanted to keep it. I was the kid that wanted not only to make money, but I wanted to keep the money.
Yeah.
And I just kept doing that. And as a young kid, you have a couple $1,000s. That's like
a lot of
million.
money.
That's a lot of money.
As a kid, that's a lot
It's
of
like
money.
millions and millions and millions of dollars. So my mom moved me away from Miami at the time to Ocala, Florida, which is the horse capital of Florida, about an hour and a half north of Orlando. She wanted to buy some land and build a home because she couldn't do that in Miami with the income she was making. I was single parent raised my whole life. And I saw my mom work hard, and I wouldn't say we were poor, but she definitely did a very well job at making sure we had what we needed. Okay? She made sure that we were in summer camps. Again, we weren't balling or anything. She was just making sure ends would meet.
Yeah.
But I saw my mom also work 2 jobs. At one point, she was working in the medical field for a very long time. Then I saw her working in the medical field, and at the same time at nighttime, scrubbing toilets at rest stops to make ends meet. Just wanted to make sure she wanted to provide a life for us. She was a homeowner as well. And so when we moved up to Ocala, Florida, I'll never forget, I was like, where the hell, what's Ocala? I mean, you're talking, I'm going from city boy.
Yeah, Miami to Ocala.
To Ocala, Florida. And now if you go to Ocala, Florida, they're kind of starting to get a name for themselves. But you got to remember, I moved to Ocala, Florida when I was like 13, 14 years old. And it was the boonies.
Yep.
The boonies, nothing going on. So when I moved there, I'll never forget, my first job was in Winn-Dixie as a bag boy, 15 years old. And I was employed at Winn-Dixie. For child labor laws, you can only work a certain amount of hours. And I remember I can only work like 10 or 15 hour weeks by law.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, work me. I'm ready. I was young.
Couldn't do it.
I was hungry.
Yeah.
And I've always had this hunger in me. And so while I had all these small businesses when I was a child growing up, and I worked at Winn-Dixie, I'll never forget, I would just go to another job, kill it, work hard. Working hard almost like I had a family to feed or something. But again, it was just the blood. It was in me.
Yeah, it was in you.
Because when I'm about to get to where I am in this podcast, I want people to understand that they're going to wonder, where did all this motivation come from? Was it a book? Was it a movie? Was it a role model? It was none of that, actually. The truth is, it was in me. I was just born with it. Yeah. I just was born with making money. So when I moved to Ocala, Florida, I continued some of my small business. I had a small lawn service. I was going door to door. Door knocking. My mom never ended up building a home. She ended up going into a resale home. I was door knocking, and basically I was getting jobs, and then I was subbing out those jobs to other kids and friends that I had. So I would get rake jobs. I would sub it out, right?
Yeah.
So again, here comes back the business mentality.
Yeah.
Okay. One other thing I didn't mention when I lived in Miami, when I lived down there, was I would also go to Walmart, Costco, and Sam's Clubs and buy candy in bulk and sell candy to kids at school. So you kind of see where I'm going with this. I'm in this cycle of how do I make money, right? How do I make money? How do I buy low, sell high? How do I buy a product for $1 and sell it for $3? Okay.
You were wholesaling before you knew it was wholesaling.
Yeah, exactly. And so I did that my whole entire life with all these I like to call micro businesses. And then I started getting old enough to where employers would be able to hire me. I actually dropped out of high school at 16 years old. Again, I'm going to go back to saying I'm the abnormal kid. I was so confident in my life decisions, in my identity, that I said, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna drop out of high school."
What was her response?
For most parents, that's pretty intimidating.
Scary.
But my mom always knew one thing. She always knew that I was a very confident boy at the time.
Yeah.
And even to this day, she always knew that anything I said I was going to do, I'm going to do it.
Did it.
So to be honest with you, the way I spoke to my mom about it, I spoke to it with authority.
Confidence.
I spoke to it with confidence. And in her mind, when I said, "Hey, I'm going to drop out. I'm going to get my GED." And I got my GED, I dropped out. Long story short, I started working at all these employers who would hire me for $12, $13 an hour, working hardcore labor jobs. I'm talking about I did masonry work, busting my ass for years. Outdoor. No one wants to work in the Florida sun. Trust me. Very hard.
Not in the summer, at least.
I worked for horse shows in Ocala, Florida for 5 years. I was a hay and sales feedman, or a hay and feed salesman. I worked at HITS, which was one of the biggest horse shows that came to Florida, because all the horses come and migrate down to Florida from up north in the wintertime. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Horse people got money, brother.
Yes.
They got a lot of money. And so I did this year over year over year with employer over employer. And I lived in Ocala, Florida for about 11 years. And I'll never forget when I dropped out of high school, about 17, 18. Some of my friends were a little bit older than me. And I told them, I said, hey, let's rent a apartment together. Rented an apartment together. I was paying rent. Young kid, paying rent. So you can see that my mind is just kind of 4, 5, 6, 10 steps ahead of most kids, right? Because most kids at that age, they're not thinking about moving out of their house. They're not thinking about how to make money. They're not thinking about small businesses. They're not thinking about any of that stuff. They're thinking about the same thing that they're all trained to think, right?
Yeah. Video games.
Video games. Most of them are brainwashed by their parents, especially in these days.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. It's crazy the era we're in, right? So fast forward to about year 11 when I lived in Ocala, Florida. I look back and I remember this is the time I had my own apartment. And again, I was working jobs, 40, 50, 60-hour weeks. Not that I had to, bro. But I love money so much, bro. I'll never forget. I used to work at HITS horse shows, and there was a hay and feed sales company across the street from that. Mm-hmm. And I would work at each one. One I would work 40, and the other one I would work 30 hours in 1 week. So I'd work about 70 hours. And again, I just love working and making money.
Yeah.
But I was busting my ass doing it. I was busting my ass for literally hundreds of dollars. Like, it wasn't much money. And again, I would take that money, I would save it. I would shove, I'm not kidding you, I would shove these bank teller bags full of cash, stuff them on my sofas at my apartment. And I had no roommates. This is at the time I had my own apartment. And I'll never forget, I was going to renew my lease agreement in my apartment. My apartment at the time was like $700 a month. It was super cheap. And I looked at myself. I was like, shit. I have done everything that I think I could have done here in Ocala. Like, I've done it. Yeah. And I've always been a very curious person. I've always been very motivated. I've always wanted to travel my whole life. See other areas. And so I was going to renew my lease, and I said, you know what? The hell with this. Orlando, Florida is the next closest, biggest city that I think that things are happening. And so I took the leap of faith. I didn't know anyone in Orlando. I went on Craigslist, Facebook, was looking for bedroom rentals to rent. I found one for $400 a week, or $400 a month by UCF. I ended up renting that. And at the time, I had probably like $16,000 to $20,000 saved in my bank account, bro. And so I was like, you know what? I can get an apartment there, but let me just test the waters of Orlando. Yeah. So when I came in Orlando, I started working at another company, paying me $12, $15 an hour, busting my ass, working like I had a family of 10. Again, I didn't. I just love money. Yeah. I will tell you I love money. I'm not bullshitting you. Like, I love money. And that's why I have it. Yeah. So I ended up repeating the same cycle when I first moved to Orlando. At the room that I was renting, one of my roommate's mutual friends was in real estate. He would come, he had a suit and a tie. He would come in his laptop. You know, I'm Mr. Chatty Cathy. Obviously, I talk to everyone. You know, I love everyone. I'm an extrovert. And I said, bro, what do you do? You know, he'd come to the house, chopping it up with one of my roommates. I said, what do you do? He's like, man, I'm in real estate. And obviously real estate to me was very foreign. Yeah. And he met me and he's like, bro, he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm working at this $12 an hour job, not even making $1,000 a week, busting my ass. And he looked at me, and the light bulb moment went off for me. He's like, dude, you should be in real estate. He's like, your energy, your charisma, and he was referring to real estate sales, being a real estate agent.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, cool.
What do I do?
What do I do? And he's like, dude, all right, go to the Climber Real Estate School. They're a local real estate school here. You can get your license in 2.5 weeks to a month, depending on how hard you want to go on the schooling. So I'll never forget. I went to the schooling. I failed the state exam like one time, retook it, passed it. He was working at Exit Realty Central at the time. This is back in 2015. And I had about, again, $16,000 saved in my name. And I said, bro, let's invest some money together on some lead generation. And this was the time where Zillow leads were like $10, $15, $20. And I know that probably doesn't mean much to you, but right now they're like $200, $300, $400 a zip code, right, per lead.
Wow.
You know, typically you might see them as low as like $50, $60 a lead, right, for every inquiry you get.
Jeez.
And I was buying them super cheap, and I remember asking other agents like, yo, does Zillow leads work? Everybody kept telling me, nah, man, those leads are garbage. You're going to spend your money on nothing. Well, guess what?
They worked for
I
you.
did the exact opposite of what other individuals did. I tell people, if people are going that way, you go the other way.
Yeah.
And I've always been a leader. So I told my buddy, I was like, the buddy who got me into real estate, and I got my real estate license. Mm-hmm. I said, bro, let's invest in some lead generation with Zillow. Bro, we were excited. We were both young. We were hungry. He had a lot of energy. I had a lot of energy. He was my same age. I'm the same age. And he got me into real estate. But he wasn't only a real estate agent. He was also a investor. So he was very business-minded, just like I was. So even though I had all those small micro businesses, so did he growing up. He used to sell flowers in the corner of the road, like roses, like on Valentine's Day. He would set up a tent, sell flowers, and he would tell me how much money he would make there. And he had all these little side hustles just like I did. So we had a lot of same parallels.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
Right, a lot of similarities. So we clicked just like that. So we partnered up, and we're in business together for like 4.5, 5 years. But when I got into the real estate game as a realtor, he was doing his first fix and flip. I saw him do his first fix and flip. I saw kind of like the operations and how he's doing stuff. And then he did his first buy and hold, an Airbnb. You know, obviously we live in Orlando, Florida. Yeah. We were taking advantage of the short-term rental market here and all the tourism that comes here, right? So I got to see him do both those models. So my first year as a realtor, I traveled to like 6, 7 countries, and I still made $50,000.
Wow.
Right? So I noticed, I was like, man, I'm really good at this, man. I'm like, I'm not even putting much effort in. I'm making pretty much what I made the year prior, and you know, I'm not tied to any company. Like I'm my own 1099 employee. But then I quickly realized, being a realtor, you're only as good as your next sale. Yeah. And again, here comes the business mentality that I had in me. I'm like, wait, hold up. I can sell a lot of real estate, but I'm only as good as my next sale. And if I sell, you know, 20, 30, $40 million in real estate this year, next year, the following year, I got to get up and do it again. So when I saw my buddy who got me into real estate do his first buy and hold, and he put on Airbnb, he took his property. He was renting out a couple rooms in his house on Airbnb, and then he converted his garage into an Airbnb. And then he started showing me the amount of money he was making. So he's like, Javi, bro, not only am I making commission checks, I got money coming in on my Airbnb, and it's paying for the house that I just bought. Yep. So I was just like, holy shit.
Wheels started turning.
Yeah. And again, we all have stages in life, right? And I was at a point where I was just like, wow, this is a lot of money to me. So I was like, all right, cool. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I don't care about the fix and flip. I was crystal clear on day one in real estate what I wanted to do. I wanted to build assets, hold assets. I wanted to marry the money, not date the money. I wanted to build that portfolio for me.
Yeah.
So my goal in real estate when I first started out was super, super easy. I told myself I want to buy one deal per year. And remember, this is before the whole creative thing, bro.
Yeah.
I was using banks
Yeah,
and utilizing banks to buy my deals every single year. My first deal was 3.5% down, FHA. I'm a real estate agent. I got paid to buy the deal from my commission. I negotiated the seller to pay my closing cost. Okay. That same deal that I bought in 2016, 2017, I think it was 2017. It was a duplex. I Airbnb'd one side.
You lived in the other?
Lived in the other. And the side that I lived on, it had an extra bedroom. So what did I do?
You rented that one out?
I rented it out. That moment right there, after I bought that property, about a year after that, I really, really had a light bulb moment. And let me tell you why. A lot of times people don't take action in life is because they don't see the recipe. And when you put a recipe together and you bake a cake, you expect to have a cake at your fingertips, right? You expect to have that
follow
cake.
The recipe, yeah.
Right, you follow a recipe. And a lot of times that's hard for people to digest. People to say, oh, just do this and it'll work.
Yeah, it's definitely hard.
Well, when I got that duplex and I bought it, I rehabbed one side, lived on the other, went FHA 3.5% down. My cash to close on that deal was probably, I think, like $13,000, $14,000. A year later, I would never forget. I'm like, hold on. I own this asset. It's paying for itself. And I'm making money?
Yeah. How does it? Yeah.
Bro, I was like, hold on. Is it this easy? So my goal was literally, how do I buy one home a year? How do I buy one home a year? That's all I wanted to do, bro.
Set.
How do I buy one freaking home a year? So I bought another home the year later. Switched my primaries up, right?
So you moved into the next
Moved into the next one. Took advantage of low interest rates and took advantage of low down payments. Did that again following year. Did it again, right? Again, I get paid to buy real estate. I negotiate my own deals as a realtor. And so that was my tool in my tool belt to catapult my portfolio.
Smart.
Right? I didn't know anything about creative finance. I didn't know about anything about creative finance. All I knew was the hard way, was how to use banks to buy real estate.
Which you're making it sound easy.
Right. I'm making it sound easy,
Yeah.
but that's all I knew. I knew how to use banks to buy real estate. Well, so check this out, bro. This is where a big light bulb moment went off for me.
Creative finance rolls in?
Nope, not even yet.
even?
Not even yet, brother. I bought that house for mid-twos, right? I owned it for almost 2 years. So that same buddy who got me in real estate, he was doing the same thing. He was getting properties, buying and holding them. He did a fix and flip here and there. But his main thing was to buy a home, primary, rent half it out, or if not, make like a mother-in-law suite, convert garages, stuff like that. Dead space, right? We permit them too. And I remember starting to see him doing cash out refinances. And this is back when money was cheap. Bro, I did my first cash out refinance and I thought I was a hero. Let me tell you, I thought I was Elon Musk. I thought I had the most money in the world. Yeah. And again, at the time to me, I was like, holy shit, wait, hold up. So I bought FHA. I had like a 2.75 interest rate, right? 3.5% down. All in on the deal. I did the rehab and that came out of pocket. All in on that deal was like 30, 40 grand, right? 2 years, 2.5 years later in that same exact deal, this is when the market was going very vertical. And by the way, let me tell you something. I had a lot of people in my ear, don't buy Javi, it's going to crash. Yeah. Don't buy Javi, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. Again, what did I do? People were running that way, and I ran that way. That's how I've always played my life. Yeah. I don't want to follow what other people are doing, bro. I want my own identity. Yeah. Because guess what? When shit goes south, when it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. But bad times make strong people.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And when the market is down, guess what people do? They sell jewelry. They sell cars. They sell boats. They sell everything 50 cents on the dollar. They get scared.
Yep.
They don't want to hold. They get scared. Because you know why? What is everybody else doing?
Selling.
They're doing what everybody else is doing.
Just falling in line.
So going back to that same deal, bro, I pulled out $80,000. 80, and I cashed out refinance at a 3.5% interest rate.
Which is crazy.
Bro, tell me who's winning here, baby.
Yeah, and you were all in for 35
Yeah,
or 40, which
bro,
had probably
now-
already been paid back through
bro.
those other people that were paying down your debt.
Yes,
Yeah.
bro. Yes, I'm
And
living for
and
free.
That's free tax-free money, right?
Yes,
that.
100%. Cash
You're
out
not alone.
refinances are tax free.
Yep.
I have to pay no taxes on it.
Which was a big unlock for me when I learned that. I was like, wait a minute,
Bro.
what? This asset is appreciated. Now I can pull out money and it's tax-free. That was a big unlock for me. And said,
Bro.
yeah, because it's a loan. Because you're
Bro.
expected to pay that back. and you will,
Yep.
or my tenants will.
So yes. So fast forward, I kept doing how I stumbled across a lot of my money is I kept doing the cash out refinance method. This is when money was cheap and that was okay to do it. Now money's very expensive to
Very
borrow.
expensive, yeah.
But I was doing that when investment rates were at 3.5%, 4%. Investment. And I don't know how much you know about loan products, but with loan product, an investment product is the interest rate's higher always
Yeah.
than a primary residence.
Say it's more
You're a
than
lot
double
more
that now.
you're a lot more risk to the banks.
Yeah.
Right? And they also want 15, 20% down.
Down. Not 2 or 3. Yeah.
Right, not 2 or 3.
Mhm.
So every single time I took and I did a refinance, I would take it buy more deals. 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 I got to a point where I capped myself out. I was like, shit. How else can I buy real estate? Started searching around online, and that's how I came across Creative Finance.
Yep.
Sub 2, Pace Morby.
Yep.
So I've been in Sub 2 for probably like 4 years now. Maybe even 5. Yeah, about 4 or 5 years, something like that. And I started seeing like this guy talking about buying real estate, no banks, seller finance. I didn't know anything about this stuff, bro. You don't know what you don't know. And being a realtor, I just knew that I don't want being a realtor to be my identity.
Your identity, yeah.
Like people still know me as a realtor now, but they know I do other shit,
Yeah.
right?
You're not necessarily known
Right.
just for being a realtor.
Yep. And I was afraid. I'd never forget. I was like, I had the limited belief of thinking like, man, I was smart. I was like, man, how can I keep my realtor business keep steaming money?
Yeah.
Because realtor business is active income. You ain't selling that business. It's active income. And at the time when I partnered with my business partner, we actually scaled it. We scaled a team. We were selling $80 million in real estate a year. That's a lot.
It's not too shabby, buddy.
Bro, we were killing it.
Yeah.
We had our own brokerage we owned together, right? We were Exit Realty. We were at Stonebridge, Stonebridge is a wholesale company. They're very well known back in the day. We were EXP. I mean, I've been in several different brokerages, right? And I've owned a brokerage with my partner. And so I would take my money and just keep reinvesting it. But I got to a point again, I got capped out and I was just like, there's got to be a better way to this.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into Sub 2. And then when I got into Sub 2, I started learning, okay, seller finance, Sub 2 deals, all these different tools in my tool belt that I didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I started executing on buying deals creatively. I was buying Sub 2 deals, single family. I was buying seller finance, 100% seller finance. Some of them I was keeping them. Some of them I was wholesaling them depending on what my buying criteria was. And so I kept my realtor business to this day. I've been a licensee since 2015. I was smart. I still keep my realty business right now, doing about $10 million in sales a year. I got a real small, nimble operation.
Why
I'm
wouldn't
okay
you?
with that. It's a few couple extra $100,000. I'm 100% commission at a brokerage. Yeah, I'm not doing it to compete at a high level, but the cool thing is, and this is what I was explaining to Mandy earlier, is if you know and love and build a database in anything you do, I don't care what business you have a database, okay? You create that database and you love and nurture on that database and provide value to that database, you always get paid off that database. But most people are so focused on how do I get the next deal? How do I buy the next lead? They forget about what they've done already.
They've already done.
And
all those connections and people.
Of course. And especially in like wholesaling and being a realtor, people are trained to how do you buy or how do you close on more deals? Oh, you sold 10 deals this month. How do you sell 20 next month? Right? And most people are wired to saying, hey, okay, it's to solve that problem, I need to increase my PPC budget. I need to increase my mailer budget. I need to increase whatever budget I have for my marketing campaigns, right? I need to turn the throttle up, buy more lead flow. And, they're just doing mathematical equations. If my close ratio is XYZ and I put the throttle up, if I want to close 10 more deals, this is how much more business I need coming through the pipeline. Well, they forget about what they've sold. And going back where I think being a realtor or a wholesaler, when you're the front lines of deals, a really good way actually to come across capital is you gotta imagine. I get to work with sellers that net what at closing? Money. Yeah. I did a deal today.
Do something with
I did a deal today. I closed a deal while I was here, right? I'm not involved. My team's got everything, right? So, but I closed a deal today. Lady made $220,000 in her hands. Mm-hmm. Guess what she's gonna do with that money? She don't know. So a good opening question is, hey, would you want to be a lender on one of these deals? And you can really cultivate capital very quickly like that. But my point there is that's just one niche. Yeah. One niche. If you're specific on who you want to target for raising capital, you'll be able to raise capital a lot more efficiently.
Versus trying to do it all over the place.
Right.
Yeah.
So fast forward to creative stuff is now I've been buying creative, the last 4 or 5 years. And I'm at another level. About 2 years ago, I got to another phase in my real estate investing journey. Mm-hmm. I already own a lot of assets. Most of them I don't even have partners on. I own them entirely me. So I have my co-living portfolio, right? I got 33 units there. Mm-hmm. I'm uploading another 14. I got 17 STRs. Showed you some of my STR portfolio. I got some long-term rentals. I got my property management company. I got my listing sales business. But I've built them to where a lot of these businesses, aside from my real estate portfolio, are just cash flow. A lot of cash flow coming in, And I've gotten to a point where it's like, man, how much more single-family homes can I buy? Yeah. Like, I love it, and I've made a lot of money there. But let's be real. Unless you're doing a non-traditional strategy, you ain't making money in single-family homes, bro. Yeah. Operating costs are too expensive. You're squeezed out by insurance companies. You're squeezed out by homeowner taxes. Shit's just too expensive to operate these deals, right? Yeah. So I got to the point where I was like, what's the next biggest thing? Well, in my hospitality background, I said, well, I know I can run a short-term rental portfolio. I run a short-term rental property management company. Why wouldn't I get into hospitality like RV parks and camping grounds? And so where my next light bulb moment went off in my real estate career was when I negotiated that first RV park. It was a hybrid deal. Yeah. Okay.
I remember.
It's taking over a sub-2 loan of like 2.75% interest rate. Mm-hmm. And I negotiated to keep the debt structure down low enough. A 1.2 seller was holding a 1.2 mil back at 4%. Interest only. We did interest only purposely so we can keep the debt structure back or low enough to cash flow more. And when I saw the time and energy and the resources I put into that deal, I had a light bulb moment. I was like, the same time and energy I've been putting in all these small single family homes, I'm putting that, right? So my single family, when I wear my residential single family hat, I always tell myself, if you really look at single family, it's not a scalable model. And if you look at it from an investment efficiency standpoint, it's not the most efficient way to invest, especially if you want to make big bucks. Now, we're going back to what I said. I love money, right? I don't want just a couple 100,000. I'll be honest with you, bro.
Yeah.
I want millions and millions, right? And it's just because I know what I can do with that money to change other people's lives.
Yeah.
And because obviously you get to a point where it's not about the money anymore, brother.
No.
It's not about the money, you know? So I got to a point where I was like, you know what? I'll still pick up single family, but I made a rule to myself. I said, if I can't get a 20 to 30% cash on cash return, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it. All right, I'll pass it up. I'll wholesale it, do whatever. Because one of the things I do as well, I wholesale 10, 15, 20 deals a year. That's what I call my electric bill money, you know? So I wholesale.
That's nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I wholesale 10, 15, 20 deals a year. These are deals that come across my desk. Because I built a brand. I built a reputation.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people in the Sub-2 community,
Yeah.
Gator community, they all come to me.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people hit me up for advice. A lot of people come to me and give me deals
Yeah.
for my listing business.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're closing on an Novation deal, $70,000, right? I got that from a Sub-2 person,
Yeah.
right?
Because you've built that brand.
I built the
out.
brand.
Yeah.
I built a reputation. People know that
What you- yeah, what
that
you're
I'm the
capable
real
of.
deal. People know I'm doing business. So people have brought me that, right? They know that when they're dealing with me, they're dealing with the easy button.
Yeah.
You know,
You're gonna make
I'm
it
very
easy.
straightforward. I have a reputation to hold. And so the cool thing about it is a lot of people sleep on mentorships. Dude, let me tell you something, bro. Me joining any mentorship that I've joined, because I'm in a few, they've all paid for themselves tenfold.
Yeah. I would agree.
Like the ROI, I don't even know if I can calculate the ROI.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Tough.
serious. Like I don't even know how to calculate the ROI. That's how much value I've gotten out of it. Not only did I learn a new skill set, the relationships.
The relationships. The big
You guys.
Yeah.
Like seriously, like I love you guys. Like you guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. You guys got great energy. And like I'm a very high vibrant energy person.
I would agree.
Right? That's how I run my life, bro. That's how I run around the world. That's why when somebody's in the airport or I'm at a bus stop, people come up to me because I live on high vibrations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
People want to be around that.
Yeah.
It's the laws of attraction.
Yeah, and people want to come up and naturally talk to me because I'm not a scary individual. My energy attracts them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So that last light bulb moment that I mentioned was like, okay, well, how do I get into bigger deals? How do I get into bigger assets? And when I saw the amount of time and energy that took me to get and curate that deal, I was just like, why haven't I been doing this why haven't I been doing this the whole time?
Yeah. You didn't know what you didn't know.
And you didn't know what you didn't know. And I'll tell you, I'm a hard-headed guy, I'll be honest. One big thing I would say, me creating all the businesses that I created, one of my big things I wish I would have, if I could have went back in time, I wish I would have delegated sooner. So right now I got a whole team of VAs that work directly for me, right? I got 4 VAs. I got 1 executive assistant. They handle all my bullshit that I want to handle. If it's a task that's not productive to what I'm doing or it's just annoying, the little gnat in your ear, you know how you get a gnat in your ear and you're like, you're swatting at it? Well, I let them handle that, right? They can do the job better than I can, and I'd rather pay them what they're getting paid to do what they need to do, right? But I wish I would have went back because I was so afraid to let my babies go.
Yeah.
I was so afraid to let my babies go. And once I realized that I can delegate, and yes, it might not run as smooth, but I really started honing in and getting really good at creating really solid SOPs to the businesses that I have.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I was my biggest enemy.
You were.
It's all bullshit, man. It was now I look back, they're running it flawlessly. Yeah, no, it's not perfect, but they're doing just as good of a job as I was doing.
99%, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the result, and I wish I would have done that way sooner. That was the first thing.
Somebody who struggles with that and releasing control, I would say that's something I'm going to hone in on. There's been a lot of really good nuggets that I've been trying to keep track of to kind of dig back into. That's one of them. The other one, I'm going to go back almost to the very beginning of what you were saying of how you were as a young kid and as a father of an 8 and a 7-year-old who are having that struggle right now of wanting to be in front of a screen, wanting to be, in front of an iPad or a computer. My son has a little bit more of an ineptitude towards wanting to gravitate towards things that make money. This past week, it's It's been asking mom and dad how we afford, to pay for a video game. That's what he wants to buy. That's what he wants to save up his money for. I said,
Right.
That's
No
not
shame
something
in
I'm
that.
paying for.
Right.
That's not something I'm paying for right now. It's not a birthday. It's not a Christmas. But he's also seen a lot of the rooms that we've been in this summer. He relates back to lending you money quite a few times of the situation he talked about with him.
Right. I love it.
And that's another reason why you said high vibrations, that you put off that persona of not only wanting to help other people understand and learn these things, which I'm a product of that, but also being willing to teach kids. I mean, there's a reason I want to hang out with you. There's a reason I invited you to go rock climbing with us and put my kids around you. I want people around that type of mentality and my other friends that are positive influences on them because they are such sponges at this age.
Right, of course.
So how as a young kid, or even as a parent, I guess now, not a parent yourself, but as a kid who grew up that way, of maybe a little nugget or something like that for us to take back and put in front of our kids, or how to indirectly influence them into that type of mentality of go out and earn it for yourself. I see so many kids, again, want to sit in front of an iPad and yell at mom, bring me this, bring me that, bring me some food, get me a snack.
Yeah.
And they do it. And I'm just awestruck
Yeah.
that it's just like, I was that same kid. I want to be outside. I wanted to be doing things rather than just sitting in front of a TV asking mom to bring me this. I remember summers, my mom was at work, my dad was at work, and I'm learning how to make myself a frozen pizza and
Right.
and figuring out things to do because they had unplugged the TV. That wasn't an option to just go sit in front of it.
Right.
What's a nugget that you might think for someone in this realm? Not necessarily, I'm not trying to make little entrepreneurs and yeah, I want them to know that's an option. But what's something you would say that might be of benefit to getting them around at this age?
Well, like you said, I'll say this first, right? Like, I'm not a parent, right? So I can't relate as a parent. But I would say this. From my observations, most parents do not want to do the work. And what I mean by that is if the child starts crying, or the child wants a certain snack or wants to do something, or maybe they hand them an iPad to shut them up for an hour or two. And that's the world we live in. Because the parent wants the easy button.
Yeah.
Instead of training and teaching their kids the right way to do things and making sure that the kids aren't so entitled, okay?
Mm-hmm.
They instead give them an iPad or give them that sugary, nasty freaking piece of food. I mean, I'm a health guy, you know. Like, some of the shit that kids are eating is it's not
disgusting.
good, right?
Yeah.
I'm just be honest, right? Let's be real here. It's science projects. But it really boils down to making sure you as a parent and your children understand what money does and how that tool operates. Because let's be real, it's a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But we live in a society, especially America, everything's so damn expensive. We're in one of the most expensive countries in the world.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not getting cheaper.
And a lot of people say, oh, might hear the term money doesn't bring happiness, but it solves a lot of things. And I tell you what, it will bring a portion of happiness to your life when you have it. And you can't live without it. Now, could you go live in the woods and be a digital nomad or, just have a very modest lifestyle? Yeah. But the reality is us as human beings, we always have to continue to evolve. No matter what. I don't care how much money you have or what you have accomplished. There has to be some type of involvement. There can't be any. If you get stagnant, there's just no growth there. Yeah, you get stuck. Not only that, eventually you get to a point you're just like, what am I doing? You're unhappy. It brings unhappiness because you feel like you have no purpose.
Correct.
So if you don't have a purpose, and it doesn't matter if you got $1 million in the bank, 2 mil, 3 billion, it doesn't matter. You have to have a purpose.
You're working towards something.
So I think it's important for parents to teach their kids the difference between me handing you an iPad and you watching something that's just going to keep them content because you don't really want them in your ear buzzing, right? Like that and that.
Yeah.
Versus like, hey, let's learn some real life skills here and how these real life skills are going to correlate to your future.
Yep.
And you make it very kindergarten for them, obviously.
I like it.
Right? They're a sponge. They're going to absorb everything.
Oh.
But as long as you make it a very kindergarten fun, kind of like what Mandy does with her kids.
Yeah.
She's like, you know what? I'm going to set my baby on the ground while I'm doing this fix and flip. Because I want my kids to see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Instead of me paying for a babysitter. And if you take that same blueprint and you start showing your kids the difference between, hey, here's the iPad or the video game, or you can make it fun. Why not do this? Hey, here's the video game, and here's the result you'll get from the video game. The result meaning you get to sit in front of a TV, you get to feel like you've accomplished winning a game,
Mm-hmm.
versus like, hey, let's go do this activity, and here's the result that you get from this.
Yeah.
And how this result is going to correlate to your future. So meaning saying, hey, let's talk about the fix and flip that I'm doing.
Yeah.
We're going to walk this today together. I know it's not the video game, but here's the result you get from this fix and flip. And you make it very fun and kindergarten-ish and interactive and make them want to engage. And I think eventually, again, I'm not a parent, okay? But I think eventually that child is really going to get a rhythm, right? They're absorbed to so much things, and they have so much things at their fingertips right now.
Yeah.
I mean, just imagine. You can get on there. Most of them have cell phones. Most of them have iPads, and most of them have YouTube. And that's scary.
It is scary.
It's super scary because they can look up anything, and they know more than you do, right?
A lot of time, that's very true.
So that's what I would say, just really making it a fun, interactive thing. Look, Trevor, I know everyone's not like me, and I know that we all have our differences.
Yeah.
And that's what makes us unique. Humanity. Like, we're all unique in one way or another. Right?
Yeah, of course.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
But I know everyone's going to have the Javier mentality when I was young.
Yeah.
It's very rare to see kids like that, especially in today's age. And it's because what they're exposed to. It's just like anything else. Yeah, it's just like anything else, brother. You're a product of your environment. If your kids are your children, if they hang around kids that are doing the iPad and video games, they're going to want to do the same thing.
Exactly like I mentioned earlier, which this summer we've deemed the entrepreneurial summer camp. Day one, I took her up to Ann McNamara. I took both my kids up to Ann McNamara's house to our power hour and put them to work.
Yeah.
Motivated them with a couple bucks. But they also got to listen and sit in the room to us making calls to agents, talking about business, talking about underwriting deals. And immediately what became boring and monotonous and wanting to be on a video game, all of a sudden you put something else in their hands and all of a sudden you just watch their little brains.
Yep.
And they are latched onto it.
Yep.
Same thing. I mean, physical activity yesterday.
Correct.
My kids wanted to sit around. I was doing work, but I had blocked out a middle of the day. I said, this is family time. It's 2 hours. And we've been big into rock climbing, as you know, lately. And I take them out. My daughter has been kind of falling off of it lately, even though she's very good at it. And was just like, I don't want to go. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm like, you're tired because you're sitting here watching a screen for an hour and not really doing a whole lot. It's also summer in Florida, so it's not, and I don't have a pool. So it's like, you can't just go outside and play these little kids in 100 degrees. So it's like, all right, we got to find something else, find some air conditioning, but I want to find some physical activity to stimulate. And before you 100%. Know it, 2.5 hours later, we went from the gym workout to also rock climbing, all these things. And I look at her, I was like, are you glad you came? She said, yeah, thanks for kind of pushing me to come. She said, thanks for making me come. But I was like, yeah, I motivated you because I also understand like an object in rest stays at rest. An object in motion it stays in motion. You alluded to that too. It's the laws of physics.
Right.
If you're not moving, you're not doing something, of course you're going to be tired. Of course you're going to be sluggish. Of course we're going to gain weight, eat more, all of those things. But it's the same thing with kids. So you say and you lead into, you're not a parent. You're going to make a damn good one day, I can tell you that, just from being around my kids and the example that you set for me, one of your, colleagues, mentors, whatever you want to call, you'll be a great one when the time comes. That's for sure. We both know that. We've talked about that. But
absolutely, man.
But we've talked about a lot. You've kind of led us through your story.
Mm-hmm.
You've come a long way of the progression of Javier's real estate journey, and I've been blessed to kind of hear that. And I got the backstory of this being on your podcast, sitting on a flight home with you from our community Squad Up Summit. I've been blessed to spend a lot more time with you lately, and I value that. I want to know what's next down the road. I know you've been, like we mentioned, a realtor to investor. That was one of the topics I wanted to hit. You hit right off the topic. You've been into co-living, which now I've kind of set my sights on with my team as well. You talked about RV parks, which we've underwritten a handful of them together as well. Would love to get into that. What's next after all of this? What do you see in 5 years changing maybe some of that single family focus of assets to maybe something different?
I would say, you know, going back to what I said, I mean, I probably still always dabble a little bit in single family. I would say majority of my main focus is it's just bigger deals right now. RV parks are very appealing because I have a hospitality background. I have that very creative, unique standpoint that I'm able to plug in. So this is the way I look at things. I look at things like, one reason why that asset class appealed to me was because I don't really need to go out and learn a new skill set.
Not at all.
When I go to raise money for my deals, people can check me. I got the experience, right? And that's most time people, it's hard for them to raise money is because they don't really have experience.
Yeah.
And let's be real, they're not betting on the horse, they're betting on the jockey.
Of course.
And I'm the jockey.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, this skill set that I already have and that I've been doing for these years already correlates into RV parks. It gives me the scalability, right? It gives me the efficiency in the investment. It keeps me in a same skill set that I'm already doing. I don't need to go out and learn something new.
Yeah.
So that's why I looked at that vertical as a really good one, right? So buying bigger deals. Now, I like other asset classes too, like multifamily. I love storage. I love those businesses as well. But one thing for me is, which I would love to dabble in, I haven't done any dabbling in it at all, which I would like to get into home services at some point. Reason being is because I wasn't joking earlier. When I say I look at my P&L, okay, I have a bookkeeper on all my properties. I have a balance sheet that I get every month, and I have a P&L that I get every month. And one thing that people can have a takeaway from is I make decisions based on numbers, okay? I know exactly to the T my most profitable properties, and I know exactly the T to my least most profitable properties. And I don't think a lot of people do.
You're right.
Right? I know my profit margins. I know all this stuff because I have a professional bookkeeper that does my books. So eventually I would like to get into a vertically integrated home service company where that does electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. Now, I haven't gone down that road. It's just in the back of my mind right now.
Makes sense.
And this is just the entrepreneur in me as well, right? So I would say from a business standpoint, that would be something, because another reason why also I don't only want to vertically integrate, I like business buying too, because, you know, you're selling on multiples, right? 3.5, 4.5 multiple.
So if you can increase that revenue,
exactly.
you can sell it for more.
Exactly. And that's what I like about commercial. So I would say, to really answer your question, is to get into income approach assets more so than your residential stuff. I'm more heavier in residential world at investing than I am in commercial. And I want that to flip-flop, right? Because again, going back to scalability, efficiency of the investment. And not only that, one thing I've noticed is I can make these single family properties run very efficiently, but I'm not really getting rewarded.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean by that?
Of course.
Right? I'm making them make more money, and I'm not getting rewarded for it.
Correct. Like you said with commercial, which is valued based off of the income that it can produce, it's not necessarily the same thing with residential.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So with residential, you're going to sell in a comparable approach. 123 Main Street sells at $200,000. I got to sell at $200,000.
Yep.
With commercial, bro, if I have that NOI, if I had another $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 of that NOI annually, you're talking I have a whole nother valuation on my property. Correct. I'm in a whole nother bracket. So it's more rewarding there as well. Not only that, you can really get a big pool of money together to buy these assets. Again, as long as people believe in the jockey. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the big thing is buying bigger deals, focusing on bigger deals that bring more efficiency to my investing portfolio. Now, whether that's RV parks, I really love RV parks. I love storage business. I love multifamily. But the main focus is hospitality. So anything like RV parks or campgrounds, a couple of deals that me and you underwrote together.
Yeah, boutique hotels.
Yeah, boutique hotels would be cool.
Yeah.
In that world, they call them keys. How many keys do you own?
Keys.
You start talking to like some big investors, they'll
Yeah.
say, "Oh, well, I own 1,000 keys."
Yeah.
What do you mean, kilos or keys?
That's a good point. It's a good point. You can get very blurred
but
lines there.
yeah, I mean, anything in commercial, I would say hospitality or some business buying. I wouldn't mind adding one or two businesses to the portfolio as well.
Okay.
And that's like, my business goal, and then, I always try to, increase my health, try to eat right, very clean as much as I can.
Yeah.
I know a lot of food these days got bullshit in it, but at
Yeah, of
home, man,
course.
I eat real clean.
That's good.
I'm just as in tune with what's going inside of me and my blood test result. Like, I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I look at,
You know it all.
I get my
You know
blood
the
work
data.
twice a year,
Yeah.
looking at all these different metrics, right? What's going on? I do that because I want to know what
Are you
my
taking-
ROI inside is just as important as my portfolio.
You are your biggest investment.
Right,
Because
exactly.
if you are not well,
Mhm.
you obviously can't go out and invest your money
Yeah.
smart and teach others and
Mhm.
again, spread the wealth, which
Right.
you do very great job of.
Mhm.
And so we've talked about, again, a lot of different things, how you've kind of made the pivot from realtor to investor,
Mhm.
and then from investor traditionally to also then creatively is primarily how you
Correct.
buy most of your deals now.
All of them.
You've bought and still automate a lot of your businesses there that still bring you income.
Yep.
So as a newer investor of somebody who's trying to get to that caliber and 10 years down the road, I'd love to say, hey, Javier, look what I've achieved. You were that role model. What would you say to somebody else who maybe hasn't heard you before, who hasn't just getting into the game and just discovering creative real estate, of a creative way to think about getting started and a way to do that with minimal money out of pocket?
I would say this. Become of the product and environment that you want to be in. So, for instance, if you want to play, we can dummy it down to like a sport, golf. Let's say you never knew how to play golf and you want to learn how to play golf. And then all of a sudden you join a golf club or you joined a free monthly meetup where a golf coach shows lessons, right? And then the people that you meet at that meetup are also playing golf. And then on your downtime, you go out and play golf with them that are better players than you, right?
Yep.
Well, the same rules apply. You want to buy real estate and you want to get in the game and you say, hey, I have no money, but I'm willing, able, and I have the energy to put my time into learning real estate. Well, go out and find someone who's doing it. Maybe join their team. That's one of the best ways. Join a team of people who are doing the thing that you want to do. Yeah. And the reason why I say the thing is because there's a lot of ways to make money in real estate. So, for instance, it could be a lending deal. Oh, hey, Trevor, you got money to lend? Okay, let me find some deals we can lend on. Would you mind giving me $100 if the deal goes through, or $200? Or hey, how about I do some of them for free? And then now you're learning a blueprint, right? And I'm getting around you. And yes, I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I'm getting around the thing that I want to do.
The vibration.
So I would say is get yourselves in the rooms. Whether you have money to invest and you can invest into a mentorship, a reliable one, okay? Get into that because that's the fast pass. Just like when you go to Disney World or Universal, that's the fast pass, bro. Like, do you want the fast pass in life or do you want to sit and try to do all the researching yourself?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So either get in that if you can afford that. If not, offer your services, meaning offer your time, offer your energy into somebody else's infrastructure. So let's say you are coming into the game and you're like, yo, Javier, bro, like, do you need help on your property management company? Or do you need help with your listing sales business? Or do you need help with your raising capital for one of your deals? How can I be of value to you? Lead with value. Remember what I say, value, 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 value. And then you can come in with a hook or a take, right? You should always lead with value, but just getting around the right people and then finding the people that are doing the thing and offering them value, free value.
Yeah.
You should pay your dues.
Of course.
Right? Everyone has to pay their dues. And guess what? That guy who's selling $100 million in real estate or buys $100 million in real estate a year, guess what? He was right where you were one day.
Started the same way.
You know, if you think about it, like you think about it, like the Jeff Bezos, the Elon Musk, like, do you think they just magically were born and then they had millions and billions of dollars?
Nope.
No.
They earned it.
They earned it.
Yeah.
They persevered. They failed 1,000,000 times before you try it one time. But they were also around people who were doing the thing that they wanted to do, right? They created what they wanted to create. And so really just, if you have the money, whether you can go out and sign up for a credit card and put your mentorship that reliable on a credit card, because that way, let's say you're in a mentorship that's real estate focused, you have hundreds of people who are doing the thing, and it creates a filter to get rid of all the bullshitters, right? Because obviously if you go the free route, you might deal with some bullshitters.
Yeah.
You might deal with some people who are just leading
Just
you
dabbling.
on.
Yeah.
Correct. So if you have money and you can start like a credit card and buy a mentorship, that's a real mentorship that can get you fast results. That's the fast pass. But then the other way, the free route, is just saying finding where there's free real estate meetups in your area, if it's real estate focused, and it could be anything. It could be golf, real estate, tennis, whatever you want to learn. Find the free ones. Start collaborating and meeting people there. Okay? Because remember, business is a contact sport.
Yep.
You don't have contact with people, you're not going to get results.
Yeah.
And today's actions are tomorrow's results. So if you want to go the free route, you can. It could take you a little bit longer, but that's okay. You never know. You might hit the jackpot. Let's say somebody's at the real estate meetup that you met, you really clicked with. There's somebody who's high level, and they are looking for a newbie person to join their team to do something like underwriting or finding deals or dispositions or helping find and curate lending deals. What happens if you just stumble across that person?
Yeah.
And a lot of times these people might want people with no experience because they can mold that person the way they want them to.
Most professions are like that, man. I don't know how many times I heard
Yeah.
that in the PT community is we want these newer people.
Correct.
Because they don't come in with all of
Bad
these
habits,
preconceived notions and bad
100%.
habits, and we can mold them into the therapist we want them to be,
Correct.
the employee we want them to be. So
Right.
that, I think, of all the nuggets that you gave us today, that probably that's one that I took a lot away from, in all honesty. As still somebody who's newer in this and still trying to, get underway with some of these investments and some of these holds. A lot of everything I've done so far has been transactional funding or lending or flips. Now it's like, okay, I want to own the thing. So
Right.
that way in 10, 20 years, when the market continues to rise like it has for the past 100 years, I'm in a position to better myself and my family. So I think that was a great.
They both have their pros and cons. So, like, I'll be honest with you, bro. I think you're kicking ass and taking names, and I love to see you evolve, right? And I know you're probably in a couple times where you're like, "Oh man, is this really working?" But I know you're betting on yourself, bro, and I know you are doing the thing that is going to lead to a result. And the thing that you are doing in real estate are all active income things, right?
Yeah.
It's a only as good as your next sale approach.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Right now it is, yeah.
That's one reason why I love about buying, and I've told you this many times, and I'm gonna say it again right here on the podcast. Like, be crystal clear on what you're looking to achieve. I mean, the riches are in the niches, and that's a very true statement. Like, you be crystal clear and keep doing that thing, and get good at it. And then when you get good at it, leverage that out. So you don't have to stop transactional lending.
Yeah.
But how can you transactional lend and pass the baton on to the newbie guy who'll do the dirty work that will collect a small fee and you still make money?
Yeah.
Now you got a business.
Yep.
And then anything that you need to do in between that to be able to get a VA to maybe do some stuff that individual can't do, that's small time stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now you start adding players into that. That's all I do. I inject players into my businesses. When I need someone, it's okay. I might not make 100%, but I'd rather give away some 90%
To make
or 70% and have a small piece of the pie, right?
Yep.
It's the same thing. Like, you think Jeff Bezos owns all of Amazon? No. Think about how many people have big stock in that company. Now, he's got a lot of shares. Probably has the biggest share.
Yeah.
He's the biggest shareholder, but still, like,
Doesn't
he doesn't own the whole pie,
Yeah.
right? But he's good at leveraging other people to do the tasks he doesn't want to do.
Yep.
So that's like a super important thing. But you're doing the thing right now, and that's the most important thing. You're taking imperfect action.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I like about owning real estate is when you own a piece of real estate, whether it's a big piece of real estate or small, a single family to a big commercial property, there's so many different ways you can manipulate that piece of real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You can sell it, you can refinance it, you can 1031, you can leverage it. I mean, I can keep going on.
Yeah.
There's so many things you can manipulate. It's not like a stock. You buy it a share, you're stuck at 100 shares.
Yeah.
CEO makes the wrong decision tomorrow on the news, forget about it. Your share goes down to fucking $1.
Yep.
Right? You have
Crazy.
something tangible. So I think it eventually, if you add a good combination you keep transactional lending like you're doing, but just leverage your time elsewhere. But make sure that I think the real secret sauce for you is, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I think the real secret sauce is how do you find someone to do what you're doing and that money still keeps spitting at you, but you don't take the whole percentage of what is earned.
Makes perfect
and
sense.
There's a lot of people that want to learn what you're doing, bro.
Yeah.
You already have all these people at your fingertips. So who do you know, like, and trust that you can be another Trevor?
Yeah.
And just say, hey, look, I got the systems, I got the process in place. You're going to come in, you're going to do exactly A, Y, Z, and they're a newbie. You mold them, boom. Now you focus on doing whatever else you want to do. You
Smart, because at one point I had looked from totally turning away from transactional lending and PML and all those things to focus on, again, buy and hold.
Yep.
That's been the main focus is co-living and RV
Yep.
parks. And that's the area where I feel like I'm still in the learning phase. But like you said, trying to figure out ways to still keep that alive and hand off the things I no longer want to do, but have the knowledge to teach somebody else how to do.
Correct.
And still collect a piece of the pie. Just figuring that kind of scaling and SOP and processes out is still something I'm working on.
And I'll give you one other tidbit. When you train and you teach someone, record yourself. You just created an SOP. Now you can get that transcribed. Now when you go to hire someone else, that person quits on you, it's now easier to get that and curate that individual and give them a training module.
It's already recorded. And
It's already recorded.
Transcripted, yeah.
Hey, this is how I deal with this situation. That's going to do a few things. That's going to, one, it's going to cut down the time of the training process, right, that you have. And two, you're creating a clone of yourself. So you don't always have to be bothered on your cell phone with text messages or phone calls. So, hey, how do I do this? So I just came across this scenario, you know?
Yeah.
You just, okay, if I haven't answered that before, you create a video and add it to the SOP. That's actually what I do with my VAs. If I have a rule, if it's not in the SOP and they can't figure it out, I'll create a video and I add it to the SOP. Because there is curveballs sometimes they get hit with they can't figure out, and they have to bring it to my attention.
Yeah, of course.
Now, eventually what I want to do is I want to have like a quality control VA that handles all my customer like I have already customer service VAs. But then I want one that sits at the top and is a quality control
Overall
to those, making sure that they're following the VA, the SOPs to the T. But anything that goes up the chain, I don't want it to reach my phone. I don't want it to reach me. I don't want to think about it. Because now we only have so many good thoughts in the day. So now how do you get rid of
those?
Exactly. I rather put the focus on the good thoughts than on, I don't want to say bad thoughts, but thoughts that are taking my time and energy and resources for me to reply.
Oh, yeah. That's good, man.
That's what Pace does, bro.
It's really good, yeah.
I mean, it's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
That's exactly what he's doing.
It's delegation in its finest.
So that's like kind of like my next hire when I get to that.
I love it. I love it, man. And I think as we hit this, just like when I was on your podcast, I think we could sit here and go back and forth all day long. Back and forth all day long, man.
I'm the worst person to interview, bro.
No, you were the easiest. I think I asked 2 questions, and and hey, I love it because I learned so much. I feel like a couple of times I'm like, oh man, I'm supposed to be interviewing him, and I learned so much. So every time I'm around you, I always learn something new. You're always giving something away for free, whether it's your knowledge, whether it's your time, whether it's your, whatever. I really just appreciate you for being on here and sharing, and I know there's lots of great nuggets that we're going to pick out of this, and a lot of people will benefit from. So
100%,
thank you
bro.
for that, man. And,
Dude, thank you.
Until next time, I'm sure there'll be a part 2, 3, 4. You never know what the years to come.
100%.
So I really appreciate it, brother.
Don't forget about us small people, man.
Yeah. Where can these people reach you or your VAs?
Yeah, no, my VAs. No, so check this out, right? So one of the most trending things is people are, chit-chatting about co-living, and that's a huge thing. So again, me and the SOP mentality that I have, I did a 3-day challenge last year. I had about 20 people show up. I did a live 3-day. I showed up every day, right? And I taught people how to find deals, how to underwrite deals, how to go through the whole entire A to Z of co-living. And so I compiled that into a take flight challenge is what we call it. And basically, if someone's looking to do co-living right now, this would be my gift to you guys. All they need to do is DM me at the real, the real Javier Paredes, and DM me the word Trevor and Javier. That way I know you watched this. And I'll give them my 3-day take flight challenge 100% for free.
Free. Wow.
So the best place to find me is two places. I hide out in YouTube at the Real Javier Paredes, and the second place I hide is on Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram and you let me know that you watch this podcast, you DM me the word Javier and Trevor, I'm going to know that's the word that this podcast I gave you the call to action for. I'll give you my Take Flight challenge for free, okay, that I put together. Takes people from A to Z. No one is doing this. No one is doing what I'm doing. Everybody's trying to charge for it. I see 7, 8K, 9K, 10K. I'm doing it 100% free. There's not another person in the market who's doing what I'm doing right now. 100%. I'm giving it to you guys, okay?
We appreciate that, man. That's very kind of you, so thank you.
I love it, man.
All right, brother. Well, until next time, and thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Thinking Outside the Bank.
Let's go. See ya. Let's hit that thunder.